Hi everyone, my name is Cheryl Sarmento and I'm a grief coach, and this is my friend Kate.
Hi.
And Kate and I are going to talk today about holiday blues, because the holidays are coming up and a lot of people get really blue during this time. So I'm just going to let Kate share part of her story so that it can help others through the holiday blues. So Kate, I'm just going to ask you some questions, and I would love for you to share a part of your story that relates to this.
Okay.
So what was the thing that happened for you that started this major grief journey, which is one of the things we're focusing on, is grief. There's a lot of grief over the holidays. That's what causes the holiday blues, right?
Yes.
Okay, so can you tell what happened several years ago? Was it 3 years ago?
Almost 4 now, 3.5 years.
Okay, that launched you into grief.
Yes. It would have been, my husband and I moved to Florida. We arrived on April 3rd. He ended up in the hospital April 11th and unexpectedly passed away May 14th. So that started my grief journey. A year after I lost my husband, I lost our oldest dog. And then just this past January, I lost our second dog. So 3 losses in 3 years. Major, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's one of the things that connected us, right, is the loss.
Yes.
And the grief. And so when the first year, when things came around right after your husband's sudden death, during the holidays, talk about that. What was it like for the first Thanksgiving, Christmas, and that sort of thing?
Well, he died May. His birthday was the first holiday.
Okay.
Which would have been July. And then after that would have been our wedding anniversary, Thanksgiving and Christmas. That first year, I can't really say that I remember much of it.
It's kind of a blur.
It's a very, very blur. I just feel like I was in so much shock that first year. But the second year, I started doing things to make it easier.
Like what?
Thanksgiving.
Okay, what'd you do for Thanksgiving?
Set a plate and a chair at the table for Tom. And when we went around, because I was with my family, my son and his family, and when we went around talking, we all mentioned a loved one that we had lost and wasn't there, which I felt was pretty neat.
Yeah. That's a great thing to do. Great thing to do, by the way, if you're facing the same thing.
The other thing that helped me during holidays, especially Christmas was a hard one. I would watch a movie that Tom and I really enjoyed watching and probably watched over and over. Songs, music, favorite songs that he liked or that we danced to. That was helpful.
Great. Yeah, that sounds like such a wonderful thing to... How did you even think of that? You remember?
Honestly, I think I got it from your book, Cheryl, because there's stories in your book from other people, and there's one chapter in there where the person said that it was really helpful for her to go through photos and look at pictures, and that is really what fed the idea to me.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll segue into that book just for a second. The book that Kate is talking about is my book, called Grieving God's Way, and that's actually what connected us. I'm a grief coach, and I coached Kate through grief through my book. And so we'll talk a little bit more about that. But can you tell people how you felt about life in general, even when I first met you, and your grief journey, and where you were in the process of that at that time?
Okay. My relationship or my experience with you actually started February 24th when I went to one of your seminars.
Okay, that's
on
right.
Grieving God's Way.
Yes.
I am overwhelmed with emotion when I think about it. But I left the seminar, and I think deep down, I didn't even realize it, but I think I was starting to feel hope, encouragement, that there was help available. That was the biggest struggle I had. For 3 years, I felt like I was in my grief and my sadness alone and isolated. And then shortly after, a couple of months after the seminar, is I was given your book.
Okay.
And it's a 30-day journal, but I read the book from cover to cover twice. And then I went and did the 30 days where I did one day at a time.
You did the homework.
Yes.
The
and was
journaling.
able to, exactly.
The application part of it too. Yeah.
And after I got your book, because it was given to me by another friend, then that's when I met you. And then that's when we started
The coaching. Okay. All right. Yeah. Wow, you have a good memory. And that was a whole journey and a gift to me too, because you were so intensely learning the grief process and going through my book and giving me this wonderful feedback. And so what I want people to know is how you felt about like life. And I mean, you were very much in a despairing situation, right? The grief
Yes.
was still very, very heavy at that time.
It was very heavy when I met you. As I mentioned, I had gone through 3 years alone with my grief. Meeting you and reading your book, I honestly can say saved my life.
Oh, wow.
I can honestly say that.
Wow. Thank you, Lord. That warms my heart. That's my goal.
There is so much hope in this small book. There's so much encouragement, wisdom, and for me, it was very simple and very easy. It's very easy to read. And since it's a 30-day journal, you do one day at a time, and you can really focus on that day.
Right.
Now, I'll admit there are things in this book I haven't accomplished yet.
Wow.
But I keep
I'm
going
surprised.
back. I keep going back.
Keep going back, it works?
Yes, keep going back. It works.
Wow. Okay, that's a major compliment. I can't even tell you how complimentary that is to hear, because it's my goal. My goal is to help people, to help them through grief. And I do remember you saying that you could not get over your grief, right?
I was stuck with it.
You were stuck in grief. Yeah.
I had mentioned this to you, that when I met you, I felt like I was stuck. And I was trying to struggle on. But I felt like I was stuck in peanut butter. I could not
you told me
move.
That. Yeah.
Yes.
What an analogy. Yeah.
But when I started reading your book and started working with you, it just brought so much hope to me.
I'm so glad.
I had struggled and searched for 3 years trying to find a grief counselor. And it just never worked out until I met you.
Wow.
And I thank God for that.
Me too. Me too. I'm sorry it took 3 years, and that's another thing, as you know. My goal is for people not to have to go through that many years of suffering
Yes.
their grief. And another one of my goals is to help people to get through the worst of times, which is the holidays, right?
Yes.
And did you ever feel like you would have another happy holiday?
No.
Mm-hmm.
And this is December 24, so it'll be 4 years April 25. So I can honestly say going into the holidays this time is the first that I've actually felt excitement. I've felt joy. And
Wow.
I struggled with that when I read about joy in day 27, I believe it is.
Yeah, I think we need to read that. Yeah, because one of the things I wrote in my book is about how people feel like they'll never have joy again, but they will, and that joy will come after the mourning. And I'm talking mourning,
Right.
that kind of mourning. And I know Kate was having a hard time believing that when we first met, right? I mean, like you said, it was peanut butter, stuck in grief.
Yes,
Yeah.
and my heart was so heavy with sadness. I never thought I would feel joy. I just wanted to get through each day.
You were happy to just get through it without being totally depressed. I remember that, and feeling stuck in the peanut butter and that sort of thing, right?
And just isolating myself in my bedroom all the time.
Yes, I remember. Okay, you want to share with them what it says in my book? Because, and there's plenty of other grief books out there, so we don't need to focus on just my book, but that's all I have right now. So, and this is what Kate and I worked through that has helped her so much.
This is day 27, joy after mourning. Weeping may stay for the night, but joy comes in the morning. Psalms 30, verse 5b. And that's another thing I like about the book, that the connection between the spiritual connection along with the growth and the healing process all comes together so nicely.
Oh, good.
There are so many times a friend or a client of mine would weep on my shoulder for the first time, give him permission, which helped to unlock those tears. Repeatedly, I would hear them say, "I feel so much better now." Often, laughter would come soon after the tears. And then in the reflection is what I like, because after each day, there's a reflection to ask you questions or help you with your thought process. And this says, you are on the final stretch of the 30 days of grief. How are you feeling now about the stage of grief you are in? Do you have any hope for joy in the future? And I really struggled with that the first time I read it, because joy, I didn't think I was ever going to feel joy again.
I remember you said that.
And I believe it was a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, we were talking on the phone, and I said to you that I actually felt joy for the first time.
I remember that. I was like, woo, that gave me a lot of joy.
Yes.
To hear that. Yeah. So if you're going through the holiday blues, and like Kate did, and just trying to get through this time, then there's things that you can do just like Kate did, just like Kate. She set a table and set a plate for her late husband and acknowledged him in that way, and it helped, right?
Yes, it did.
Yeah.
It helped.
And so do what you have to do during your grief and your loss to get through these holiday blues in practical ways. That's a practical way that you can do that. I'm going to have more written out for you, steps for you to take to get through the holiday blues. And I actually have another podcast coming up for that. But it gives me joy to see someone having joy during the holidays that thought they never could.
No.
And that they thought they were going to be in the holiday blues forever after loss upon loss upon loss. And so if Kate can do it and have hope and get to the joy, so can you.
Yes.
Yes. And so I'm going to put more information in my bio for you if you need help during this season. And I just hope and pray that you too can have joy through the holiday blues.